Several things I want you to note from this text. First of all, the setting described. This scene begins with the description of the place of the final judgment. Verse 11 begins, "Then I," referring to the Apostle John, who has been caught up into the heaven of heavens and given a guided tour of heaven and what is to come. And John now is allowed to see at the end of time, at the end of the age, "I saw a great white throne." It's great because of its power. It towers over every other throne. It towers over every earthly seat of authority. This throne has universal jurisdiction. It overrides every objection. Its verdicts are final. It is the supreme court of heaven and earth. There is no higher court of appeal. The verdicts of this throne are final and indisputable. It is white, speaks of its purity. Its verdicts are executed with absolute holiness, with inflexible righteousness. And at this point, there is not one drop of grace. It is a throne because its purpose is judgment. And every sinner without Christ will stand in this court. This is a terrifying scene, and the entire Bible looks ahead to this final day of judgment. Psalm 9, verse 7, "The Lord has established His throne for judgment, and He will judge the world in righteousness. He will execute judgment with equity." Psalm 7, verse 11, "God is a righteous judge." And in Acts 17:31, Paul at Mars Hill says, "God has fixed a day." There is a day that is fixed in which He, God, will judge the world in righteousness. There is coming this day when God will settle every account. And every sinner will appear, and every sin will be exposed, and every wrong will be judged. There will be no sin in the history of the world that will escape His judgment. The second thing I want you to note is the sovereign enthroned. Because in verse 11, John continues to describe not just the throne, but the one who is seated on the throne. The throne is occupied. There is no vacancy to this throne. And we read, "In Him who sat upon it." There is no doubt who this one is. It is the one to whom the Father has given all judgment into His hands. It is the one that the Father has given all authority in heaven and earth to Him. In John 5:22, Jesus says the Father has given all judgment to the Son. And Peter in Acts 10 says they put Him to death by hanging Him on a cross. This is the one who has been appointed by God to judge. So the throne is occupied, and the one who is upon the throne is not asleep. He is actively presiding, not only presiding over the affairs of providence every moment of every day in this world. There's no bad luck, good luck, no such thing as an accident, no such thing as fortune. The stars are not controlling anything. The Lord Jesus upon His throne is masterminding and micromanaging the entire universe. As R.C. Sproul says, there are no maverick molecules in the universe, but they all answer to the bidding of this one who is upon the throne, and He is directing all of human history this very moment to the final scene, which will lead then to this point. And He is seated upon the throne, ready to hold court, ready to judge the world.